So this is what's going on today. Stuart, Karen, Eden, Aquarius cat. Nice. I like the signs. Karen Marie Shelton's been talking about the astrological signs and how it bodes well. What we're looking at right now is boding well. I'll just take whatever signs I can get for something good. Nice to see you, Becky. North Carolina. North Carolina had some good results, I hear, in the elections where the voters are coming out in force to, those incumbents. We have all those incumbents who then claim to be for us and they vote against us. It's like, what's the point of electing Democrats if they then turn around and vote with Republicans? And I understand, according to Marlon Weems, that a lot of them lost their primaries. And I've been saying it over and over, everybody. The primaries are the key here. We get Texas Lib. Good to see you. The primaries are the key. And we have to remove basically, it's like 90% of our sitting politicians. They're not doing anything for us. Now, the reason I'm jumping on today, hi, Becky. Our new Dem coordinator is doing a fabulous job. Becky is in North Carolina. Excellent. And actually, Becky, if you know that person, I would love to interview her or him and just get more people. Texas Lip. I was talking with Lisa Hamline from Texas. And the emphasis, I think, is really important here. What I learned from Lisa Hamline was critical last week, and I've traded numbers with her, and I plan on talking with her more. And it's the down ballot stuff, because and her point, which really resonated with me, was how these Senate races don't really matter. What matters is that infrastructure on the basic level, all the good people in like important government roles. It's like people sit and look at senator and they look at Congress, but I mean, there's plenty of roles at various levels of the state that control huge budgets. Uh, Nouns are the first to go, said Becky. Yeah. Yeah, I guess I don't know what that refers to. It sounded kind of funny, but yeah, the down ballot races are the most important, and it's the more we can get. That's why we have that Run for Something webpage. The more good people, and I think part of this whole white supremacy indoctrination that we're vulnerable to right now is that they make us think that all those positions are for somebody else, and that goes all the way back to when I was, in school. You take a test or something, which was supposed to determine who was the most qualified for a position or a job, and then they would just ignore the results and give it to their preferred person, and that's what we see all of America doing. We constantly discredit the people who are overly qualified and allow incompetent, awful, racist, and generally white men into these positions. So it has to stop. And a lot of stuff's been going on. I got to write more and more about this. I did a post today. Maybe you saw it, where I'm just like, when Democrats say the word electable, that's racist. We have to make them stop saying it. Little by little, these things are going to have big. Somebody just mentioned how on the news now they are referring to the president. They're using words like narcissistic personality disorder and there's the suggestion that he's got dementia. Okay, I see too. My contact Howard is going to talk to me in a little while. I'm just going to send him a message here. I'm going to be inviting on a congressional candidate in a minute, so we'll see. It would be in about 20 minutes. So I'll leave that message. Apparently he's at a demonstration in California, and apparently there's a congressional candidate there that wants to talk a little bit. So I wanted to bring you all in here, but there's always a lot to talk about. So I was kind of anxious. Kitty Cat says, folks are finding out here as they are bringing a Florida voter denier here to a red county of California. They're starting to mess with how the elections are run. Yep. Well, it's ongoing. Our elections are messed with, and we have to just start saying this. And I've been a little bit frustrated. I've been a lot frustrated with how the Democrats have been failing to rise to the occasion. The Democrats have been failing to defend votes. And, there's this instant pivot. There's this instant pivot to cries for unity. And that is important. But I mean, you look at what happened in Texas and the voter suppression, the vote suppression targeted Jasmine Crockett's voters, So those voters weren't able to come out and vote for Jasmine. Well, those same voters are going to be targeted in the general. And the DNC establishment plays this, and I want to emphasize there's a lot of really, really good people working down the ballot. In the states. It's the Washington Democrats that are the problem here because they need to be calling to defend these votes. And they seem too content to allow voter suppression to happen when it elevates and again, it's racist to say an electable candidate. That's just racist. Don't even use those terms. Can't let Democrats get away with using that anymore. I don't care if it's Democrats or Republicans. Racism is racism. And those of you who are, people have been mad at me and they say, hey, you can't be critical of the party. We got to win. We are not going to win. The Democrats are not going to win unless they address the racism within the party. They're not going to win unless they address the racism within the party. Again, and that calls for, hey, Elizabeth, good to see you. Yeah, the Washington Democrats are getting in the way of the states. All right, Becky says, North Carolina Dem Chair Anderson Clayton serves as the current chair of the North Carolina Democratic Party, elected at 25 years old. Oh, this is the kind of person. Oh, perfect. Thank you for that. Please, Becky, instant message me that so I make sure I have that, and I will look that person up and talk to him. These statewide, hey, Bob's here. These statewide chairs are really super important, and we just need to have legislation in all these states. Elizabeth, all these down ballot things, all the money that's involved with that, because there's so much money that if we allow Republicans to have any seats, they're just going to steal our taxpayer money. We just have to start recognizing that this is the case. Because first of all, they steal elections to win. Republicans do. We know that Kamala is the rightful president. And we need to just start saying this. Don't be embarrassed to say it. And we've seen it again and again and again. And the Washington Democrats allow races to be fixed. And more as I look at this, what's becoming, Anderson is a woman. So I apologize if I used the wrong pronoun before. But yes, would love to have Anderson Clayton come on and talk to me and inspire more people. The more young people that take over, because young people are just, when I was 25, I wouldn't have dreamed of, just stealing millions of dollars for myself. But we see these 50-year-olds and 60-year-olds in government, the Republicans, who just unabashedly sign off on $200 million here and there. And there's a reason white supremacy is always overfunded, because they steal all this money. And we just have to start recognizing the reality of what's going on. Hey, Walter, that state chair just says woman. Well, I already apologized for that. I saw the word Anderson and so don't accuse me of being sexist there. I already said. I didn't realize that's a woman. I'm happy. I want Anderson Clayton to come on. Yes, please. It was not an intentional attack. I'm not sure what you're talking about. No says no, it was not an intentional attack. That narrative is divisive. First of all, the word divisive is often a racist phrase too. The reality is, we have to have constructive criticisms of the party which has failed us. The Democratic Party is using or is allowing voter suppression to continue. They allow it because it serves their purposes. And what we see so much, don't use the word divisive, because you are it's the accusation is a confession. Don't even say that. If I offer constructive criticism, I want you to, it's aggressive. It is aggressive. If I offer constructive criticism, I want you to hear my criticism, because let's face it, the DNC keeps losing. Their strategies are failed. And everything the way it's set up right now is there's more money in getting fundraising than there is in winning. What's the salary for being a senator compared to being the, quote unquote opposition who brings in millions and millions and millions of donations? There's no incentive to win. They make more money when they lose. And we've been seeing that about the establishment Democrats. Oh, yeah, everybody's punchy this morning, and that's good, though, I do agree with that, but I do want people to start accustoming themselves to the fact that the DNC has to defend the black vote. And like I said, that phrase "electable" is racist because they only ever use it as part of this kind of passive argument as to why they're not going to support a candidate who is not white, you know? And and what we see in the United States is this. We have the Republicans who are openly white supremacist, and then we have the Democrats. And all the Democrats care about is appealing to the moderate Republicans. Um, okay, this guy's telling me it's going to be Chris Bennett who's going to be coming on here in a little bit. I got to get his handle still, though. Howard, if you see me, um, I'm just going to send him a message here so I can add him. Ah, I tell you. But yeah, and it's good. People have to get out and start talking, and it's really important we stop with the division, you know? Um, all right, let me read what Paul just says. DNC leadership only wants to support the least. Yes, and we're talking about the Washington leadership. There's really great state leadership, like this Anderson Clayton people are telling me about. I would love to invite her on, um, if anybody has a contact there. More and more visibility for these wonderful people working in these uh okay, he's gonna DM me when he's online. More wonderful people working in these places that have less visibility. But of course, it's the oligarchical media that always covers up all the people doing the best work. Let me read some more of these. I'm not attacking where's the root of racism. Divisive means dividing one another. Yeah, calling things divisive don't use that. Just don't use that. You can say that argument isn't very good, or you can address the argument, but if you use a word like divisive, you're deflecting. That's what's called a thought terminating cliche. That's implying that I'm doing something wrong, even if I'm offering just a constructive criticism. It is a fact. The Democrats have losing strategies that they need to get away from. They have to stop doing these because me bringing that up is not being divisive. That's constructive criticism so we can actually win. Um, so yeah, just don't use that word anymore, please. Yeah, well, I mean, it's tough, and yeah, Chris. I mean, Chris. Chris could be both, and yeah, it's Anderson. It's a tough one to guess, and I do try to. I'm respectful of people's preferred pronouns, but then a lot of times too, when there's a lot of these handles on Substack or online, you can't tell the gender based on the handle, and so it's not being sexist. If you're just like, bring that person on, I do have to be more careful of that. I am mindful of that, but it was an honest mistake. So yes, and I would love to talk to this person, Anderson. Hi, Laura. Laura is listening today. Um, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. But just what happens too, we see this because it's really, really important right now. The Democratic establishment defends the black vote because we see the same thing happening again and again in every election. When it is convenient to the Washington Democrats who use these lies, these racist lies like the electable, and they use the injustices built into the system to ensure that their candidate gets pushed through, then they celebrate. And they said, well, we have to have unity. But then those same vote suppression tactics are used in the general. And then that candidate loses, the anointed DC Democrat loses, and then they turn around and blame the black vote, which they never protected in the primaries. They do this again and again and again. And to say that isn't divisive. To say that is saying this is a flaw in the Democratic strategy. And I want the Democrats to win. And I want them to stand up and protect every vote. And I don't appreciate it when people call me divisive or say now is the time for unity when the party is failing to unify around the black vote that is critical for them to win. Yeah, I mean, that was pretty. Oh, thank you. Thank you for defending my honest mistake. No. Elizabeth says, I think Walter's asking for the Democrats to do better for the black people. Yes, please. We have to. And it's defend that vote, defend all votes. But they passively stand aside knowing that the black votes are suppressed in the United States. And we know that the Republicans do this, but the Democrats also enable it. And we have to start calling that out. We have to start recognizing that. They blatantly disenfranchise the black vote, and the black vote gets fed up with it, you know? Suzanne said, "Simon Roseberg seems to know her well. That's how I found out about her." Okay, yeah, send me these links so I can be in touch. Oh, great, here we go. Robert says, "We need to stop talking about the DNC and focus on progressive candidates and lawmakers, young progressives, women, progressives, veterans." Yes, and I think, though, we do have to just kind of dismantle and have everybody have an awareness of what we're up against. Because, yes, the progressives are wonderful, but the DNC establishment suppresses the progressives. And that's the strategy. I mean, we have to take care of the saboteurs within the establishment DNC. And so we have to stop sending money to the DNC. We have to send the money to the progressive candidates, like Bob Dana mentioned there. It's absolutely the case. And yes, we have to, I call them blue MAGA because they are more interested. Again, that electability argument. The second they use that electability argument, they're leveraging racism, you know, and in order to help suppress the black vote, and we have to stop that. We need, and it's like we have these corrupt people, and that is the Washington Democrats. The people like Genocide Schumer start calling him that. Genocide Schumer, Genocide Jeffries. Look at the last few votes. We had enough Democratic votes to halt the war powers and to stop this attack on Iran, and 4 Democrats voted to allow it. What is the point of us supporting 4 Democrats who are willing to vote to allow these just offensive wars where little kids are being murdered? They have to have criticism about that again and again. You know, the blue MAGA, the Washington Democrats wants us. They subject us to this betrayal, and then they want us to instantly forget about it. They call for unity, and we can't fall into that trap anymore. They all have to go. Kitty Cat says, "Walter, you're saying truth. It's hard truth, but it's truth." And I want to win. You know, I want the Democrats to win. And we're not going to win by using the same old losing strategy every time. Jason says, "Yeah, take the talk, walk the walk." Absolutely. Yeah, the Washington. Okay, Howard says, "Chris is 15 minutes." Great. I mean, we're getting a nice little group. And so this congressperson, what's the name again? Chris Bennett is supposed to be jumping on here in a minute. That was the idea today. They're having a demonstration somewhere in California. And I just want to give them some visibility so all you wonderful people can talk to another congressperson. Yes, Robert says we need to overwhelm the DNC with progressive candidates. We have to talk about the strategy for doing that. Because a lot of things have to change. We don't control any of the messaging right now. And I really am concerned because Blue MAGA does. They're the ones who say, "Hey, don't be divisive. We need unity." And it's like, no, we need you to go and defend the people who were disenfranchised. That's what we need. And me saying that doesn't mean I'm divisive. Me saying that is offering you what you have to do. It's always promises with them. You know, the Washington Democrats, it's always promise, promise, promise. They say that they'll do something, but it's always the next election. I always go back to this. This is critical, everybody, to remember. We gave the Democrats enough power in 2020. They had Congress. They had the presidency. They could have stopped this. They didn't. They made the deliberate choice not to stop everything we're going through right now. All the deaths, all the war, all the loss of money, all the corruption. The Washington Democrats are complicit. We have to remove them. We have to hold them accountable. I'm talking legally and lawfully. Vote them out. They try to scapegoat Kamala Harris with this when Genocide Jeffries and Genocide Schumer are the ones taking all the AIPAC money, which somebody still has to explain to me. All the billions we give to Israel and then they turn around and send that money back to us. It's really bizarre. It's bizarre. I don't know why more people aren't mad about the fact that all of our taxpayer dollars are wasted all the time. It's never spent on us. We do all the hard work. All that money goes to rich people who don't do anything, cruel people who exploit us, and our backs are constantly against the wall. It has to stop. Is Mooch going to join the group today? You're thinking of the Mouthy Renegade Writer. He's my friend. Jenna says we can't win, but we can't use the same strategies. The same thing. And the Democrats are just showing you gotta watch Natasha Kaye. And she's really brought me back. I mean, there's 2 movements. There's the start a third party movement, or there's the reform the DNC. And I think both of them are going to probably be necessary because the DNC doesn't even bother to run candidates in a lot of red areas. So, and it's like they just kind of enable the suppression that takes place because of the lawless and corrupt and white supremacist Republican Party. So we just have to be realistic here and have serious conversations about, because the DNC is not perfect. They are not. It's like this idea that I'm not allowed to mention all the ways that they're messing up when I can see it. I can see how they've done it again and again and again. It's problematic. Jason said, I feel the system needs to be rethought and updated for today's totally different. Yeah, we need to do a major reassessment of the Constitution. Robert says, don't send money to the DNC. Send your money to support progressive candidates and grassroots PACs. Absolutely. 100%. That's what we have to do. And, again, I keep saying the Republicans, they spend all this money on supporting their people like Joe Rogan, all these liars. You guys got to stop supporting Adam Kinzinger. He's as bad as the rest of them. He just tells things that aren't true. He pushes that status quo lie. But all you do, I mean, just look at all the places, even good speakers on Substack who are multimillionaires already, they don't need your money. We need to spread it around because we got to win this messaging war because the Democratic establishment, the Washington Democrats just concede. And it's again, they do the same thing again and again because they just run to lose because there's more money to be made in fundraising than there is to actually be holding those seats. And it's just really disgusting to sit here and watch it. All this money that's being flooded into states, like, and Tyler, we got to pressure Tyler Rico. He's got to get rid of Carville. Carville is toxic. The things that he keeps saying drive the black vote away. He can't win with Carville advising him. Carville shouldn't be a spokesperson for the Democrats. He is so offensive. And the fact that people will say, well, he's not relevant. He is relevant. He appears. His offensive language appears in papers all the time, makes the Democrats look appallingly racist. Words like electability make the Democrats look appallingly racist. Words like appeal to moderate Republicans make the Democrats look appallingly racist. All of that has to stop. I would like a party that doesn't, you want to suppress the vote, suppress the white vote for a change. We'd be better off if we did that. All right. Jandra says, we need you for me, not unity. Yeah. And I mean, they have to stop lecturing and they have to start listening. And I tell this too, people, when they say things like you're being divisive, telling me not to talk isn't going to have any effect. That will do nothing. I literally won't pay any attention to you if you do that. I got to scroll down here to the end here, just in case Howard clicks in with the hi Sonny with that candidate I'm supposed to be chatting with. So he said he's gonna DM me, so we'll see. Maybe it'll turn up here. As soon as I have that name. Oh, there's Natasha. Good always to see Natasha. And it's just this ongoing thing. Well, Courtney says, wouldn't it make more sense to move away from PACs altogether and donate directly to candidates? That would be good. I mean, but we also do have to, I'll say, but we also do have to use the tools in place, even if they're kind of corrupt tools. Natasha Kate says, not just Carville, correct. But I just use Carville. He's just an easy example. So it's like, I'm just kind of focusing on him. Once he gets kicked out, then we'll move to the next one. But I think Carville is one of the most obvious examples, just blatant racism. Daedra said, they never said the current guy was not electable. Of course not, because that's racism. Yeah, perfect. I mean, yeah, the not electable thing is a racist statement. And we have to we have to call out Democrats. Like this idea that when Democrats do something racist, we shouldn't say anything because it's divisive and we have to unify. All that is nonsense. All that is racism enabling, We have to pressure the Democrats to defend the black vote, or we are not going to win any kind of elections. Ken Martin needs to go. He's not helping. They forced out David Hogue. You can't do that. I mean, the things that they're doing, they're deliberately, the Washington Democrats are deliberately enabling fascism. Look at all the votes that they just have done. You got Democrats voting for the SAVE Act. You got Democrats voting to let the president have his war powers. You got Democrats voting to fund ICE. And it's divisive if I point this out. This is why they're not winning more elections. And this is why all the ones in there have to go. We have to be serious about this. I get so much pressure from people. And these are well-meaning people too, because they want to focus on MAGA. Okay. He says, still waiting. Just give me his handle. Okay. I'll need his handle, Howard, his @ so I can type it in and invite him on. Or I can maybe I can get Howard, or I can invite you. He can talk to me through your phone. So I'm trying to get this figured out. We have this, but yeah, there's another congressional candidate. Apparently he's here, but I had stuff to talk to you guys. I miss you guys when I don't see you. Okay, let me do this. Save Act is appalling. It's offensive. Um, why are Democrats still voting against their base? Because when we call them out on it, they call us divisive. And so many people are afraid. They're more worried about the Republicans. I've had a lot of people say, hey, look, you have to worry about defeating MAGA. And it's like, unless we defeat the saboteurs, the Washington, D.C. saboteurs, we're never going to defeat MAGA. We have to focus first on this. It's what Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said. We have to focus on the centrists. The centrists who are sabotaging us and saying these things that are not true. Neurodivergent says, I'm multitasking. Hi, good to see Neurodivergent. Privilege is showing. Yep. Oh, yes. International Women's Day. My wife reminded me of that this morning, too. Happy International Women's Day. Uh, gosh, we just need women in power all across the country. That reduces close to by a factor of 100 the pedophiles that are in office. It's just a fact. We need to get men out. We have to get women in office all across the board. All right, what Albert Dennis says, take a look at some very good PACs. Yep, there are good ones. Leaders We Deserve, Vote Vets, Emily's List, 314 Action, lots of other grassroots organizations. So yes, that's one of the other things that happens often. People are dismissive of these tools that are often used for bad, and the tools are out there, so we have to use them for good. There's all these kind of weird things that happen with our income tax laws and things like that. And you have to take advantage of those loopholes so that you have more money, because the bad side always has more money. And we have to change that. We have to start sponsoring and supporting decent people. Be deliberate about that. Natasha says, yes, there are good PACs. Thanks for the reminder, Robert. I honestly I forget that. And yes, there are good ones. It's a tool that we can use. Okay. So we got to get this. Okay, funny. Um, Texas Lib. The establishment Democrat Party hates its left base. Other side never despises their wacky mega right. Yeah, and it's true. And I mean, we have to really recognize what that means about the Washington, D.C. Democrats. They really have no interest in serving the people. They really honestly don't. And we have to start just deliberately saying that and applying pressure. We have to vote out the ones that are untouchable or unmovable. We have to pressure the ones that can be forced to listen to us, because some of them can be reclaimed. And we have to empower the ones that are actively working for us. That's our strategy going forward. Let me keep rolling. There's workingfamilies.org. That's great. They want to use us when it's convenient. Yeah, and like I said too, the Democrats are quite happy to allow Republicans to practice voter disenfranchisement when it allows them to get in a candidate. I mean, you look at the election in Texas, and it really looks like the Democrats just wanted to get rid of Jasmine Crockett, who was one of the few representatives who has been actually working for us. And we've seen how they didn't stand up for Stacey Abrams. They should have made a national hero. And it's almost as if the Democrats were mad that Stacey Abrams got them control of the Senate, because then they didn't have an excuse for not doing anything. And we look at it too. I mean, the Epstein files go back multiple administrations. So we're kind of pulling away the veil of just the level of corruption in our society. Yeah, these guys. Oh, yeah. And I know and that's another thing Natasha just say. There's so many. I mean, I've endured abusive relationships. So many people have, and we see in this regime just the attitude of abusive people, and we have to call that out too. We have to stop submitting to these people that then turn around and accuse me of being divisive. It's time for us to step it up and demand it. Anyone taking away from AIPAC needs to be voided out. Yep. Fetterman needs to go. Yeah. I wrote today, I just did a little video before I came on here, how I just did a video I'm going to post to a lot of people I know from the past to say, look, if you voted for Republican, you are not a good person. And we have to stop acting like they have a valid viewpoint or a valid position. I mean, they're completely lawless. They're cruel people. They're thieves. They're criminal. They protect, they protect and enable child rapists and child abusers. Francis says less about the DNC. They are not our way to success or change. not talking about corrupt institutions is not going to help it. We have to talk about the things that they're doing. We have to educate the people, let them see the strategy that's in place, because the establishment, there are good Democrats. Again and again, I have to underscore this. I've talked to a lot of them. They're working really, really hard, but they're working at the state level. It's the Washington, D.C. Democrats that are sabotaging the good, hardworking Democrats. The Washington, D.C. Democrats are the ones with all the money who refuse to hand it out, or they hand it out to candidates that can't win, and then they use the racist term electable, which they shouldn't be using. They shouldn't be getting involved with local elections the way they do. They manipulate things. They select their anointed candidates. And that is a serious attack on our sovereignty and our ability to just govern ourselves. It's not democratic when we have this corrupt center in the Democratic establishment that's as bad, that enables the corruption of the GOP. We have to do something about it. We can't pretend that's not a thing. Natasha says they're doing it to me too. As a black woman, in my DMs telling me what I'm exposing and expressing about the DNC hurt their feelings. No joke. Okay. He says I need his Substack handle, or I can invite you. Yeah. They're morally bankrupt. Robert says totally agree. Yeah. Yeah, Blue Mega. I mean, we have to denounce Blue Mega. We need real people in there who will help us. Yeah. Oh, there's Chris Bennett. Okay, great. Let me get this here. Let me see if I can find I'll invite him. Add guest. Shoot, Chris, I'm not. It's funny because it turns up in the chat. Can you type in, Chris, let me see if I can find it. I need to type in your handle because when I type in add guest, I'm not getting your handle. Let me see if I can find it again. BNNETT, and that's not the one. Because there's a lot of guys named Chris Bennett. Oh, it's probably because. Oh, there we go. There it is. Got it. Okay, good. I got you now. All righty. I sent the invite, so now we're gonna have Chris Bennett joining us. Good. Let me look at these as I'm waiting. It says waiting for Chris Bennett to join. Working families. Yeah, there we go. All right. Perfect. Join.
Hey,
hello. Can you hear okay?
I can hear you fine. Can you hear me?
Yep. Introduce yourself, sir.
Sure. I'm Chris Bennett. I'm running for Congress, and I didn't realize that this is what we were doing, which is why I'm late. I'm sorry about that.
It gave me time to build an audience. So we got a nice 120 people here talking to you. So tell them all about you.
Yeah, we'll do. So I come from a long line of military veterans. My parents were both Army officers. I have 9 younger siblings, and I followed in their footsteps after 9/11 and went to West Point. So, I believed all of the propaganda, all the lies, all the things that we were told were like the valid reasons for going overseas. And I think when I was at West Point, it was sort of the first time I was actually exposed to people from different backgrounds. So I'm one of the few people who can say that I became less conservative when I was there. And then, of course, I commissioned in 2013, became an Army artillery officer. And I spent my first 2 years in South Korea overseas from 2014 to 2016. And that is when Bernie Sanders ran for president the first time. And I was like, okay, yeah, why is it that, in the military, we basically get socialism in exchange for killing people? And then we have in the States, billionaires rich enough to buy private islands and people going homeless, even though they're working full-time jobs. It didn't make any sense to me. And so I've been a progressive ever since. After I got out of the Army in 2018, I worked in healthcare IT at Kaiser and Sutter, and then at PwC for a little while. But after the second Trump election, I was sitting in my office and I was listening to, I don't know if you're familiar with Innuendo Studios. He wrote the alt-right playbook.
Okay.
It was like the series in 2016 about like the rise of basically like MAGA fascism. And he was talking about how fascism is not something that happens all at once. It's more like a death of 1,000 cuts. And if you don't take stock of where you are in that moment, you won't even know it and become desensitized to before it's too late. Yeah. So I got everyone pull out a piece of paper and write down right now in this moment, what is your line? That when that line gets crossed, you'll actually do something about it. And for me, that line was people getting black bagged or kidnapped off the street. And that started happening last April to immigrant students that protested genocide. So I quit my job to run for Congress because it's the decisive point of our democracy, with the power to impeach, the power of the purse, and the power to fix our broken system to make it work for regular people.
Awesome. And I just want to say too, I appreciate so much every candidate who's willing to come and talk to me. I'm just a regular person. And too often in our government, our elected officials will refuse to do that. And we need to build up this messaging, because we see it on the right. They have this overwhelming tidal wave of lies and propaganda. And it's just that on the left, nobody, I mean, Pete Buttigieg, why isn't he talking to me? All these people should be building this up, and we should be pushing back against these right wing lies instead of just kind of enabling them. So, oh, you're at I understand like a demonstration today?
Yeah, so we have every Sunday in Folsom, which is in the district I'm running in. We have a anti-ICE and now also anti-war protest. You could kind of see we got people
Awesome.
out here choosing to
Good.
spend their time on a Saturday to basically show their neighbors that, even though Folsom seems like a red place, there's actually a lot more people that care about humanity and also just want our system to change and prioritize care instead of incarceration.
Yes. And somebody asked, you're running in California?
Yes, California's third district. So it basically covers like southeast Sacramento, sort of the eastern suburbs of Sacramento, going all the way up north. Goes out to Truckee, South Lake Tahoe, to the border of Nevada. So I don't know, it's Northern California, but at the same time, it's more like Middle California because that's how California works. Northern
Perfect.
California is in the middle.
Okay. How much time do you have, by the way?
I have a good amount of time actually. So
Oh,
you're
we
yeah.
can just sit and talk all day if you want to. I just want to get the like anything we can do to get the word out. But one of the things I'm really upset about. Oh no, we lost him. Are you still there?
uh,
Okay, lost your camera. Okay,
yeah. I'm still here. Yeah, I was just checking my calendar. So I'm good until I need to leave at about 11:30. So I have a
okay.
maximum about an hour. But also, do you want to talk to
If
people?
you need to
So
go, just put up your
yeah,
hand and I'll give you a graceful exit. So
sure,
we'll
no
just do it
worries.
that way. But I'm really concerned. I know a lot of people are. This election integrity thing, and we've seen the Republicans deliberately try to steal elections. This Save Act, that's an attempt at theft. And then they do other things though, purging voter rolls. We see the deliberate confusion like they did in Texas. And I want to pressure more of the DNC to do more to protect our right to vote because I keep saying we gave the Democrats all the power they needed in 2020 to stop this, but then they're content to blame voters for not showing up for them, even though when we give them the power, they don't do anything with it. And then when they don't win, it's because we didn't show up, even though we had vote suppression. So your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I have a little bit of a different perspective.
Good,
Um,
perfect.
my perspective is that the Democratic Party is basically on its last legs and is dying. I think that
That's the same perspective.
it's basically a talking head with a lot of money and no body to prop it up. So there is a real lack of actual power and an unwillingness to build and use power. So the way that we're going about our campaign is a little bit different, where rather than trying to just do the same cycle of, all right, put out a bunch of ads every 2 years, what we're doing is actually like grassroots, relational, community driven organizing because we need to build alternative power structures that can actually mobilize people and get them out to do stuff. So that's what our campaign is built off of. And that is what the Democratic Party refuses to do because that it's more like what they really want is for you to be a docile, complacent, peon who does what you're told and votes Democrat every 2 years. They don't want people who actually understand the issues and are willing to stand up and demand something more. So that's the reason why they're unwilling or unable to do the kind of campaign that we're doing. Because what our campaign does is it actually builds power. And this is the type of power structure that can last for decades as opposed to something where it's like, every 2 years we have to worry about what the media cycle looks like.
Sir, oh my gosh, everybody in my chat just got excited about you, and you just said a bunch of stuff that was in my head too. So that always makes me excited. Like these
Yeah.
anointed, you see that with the DNC. They anoint their candidates. They don't listen to the people in the states. Is what really gets frustrating. We
Yeah.
have that. I'm in Wisconsin. We have the same thing where Emily Berge is running against Rebecca Cook, and the DNC in Washington told Berge, "Well, we don't even want you here." Even though these primaries are so critical, where they allow the people of the
Yeah.
state to talk, and, have you been getting pressure like that too?
Pressure like what?
Pressure to not run. They told Emily not to
Oh,
run.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, literally everyone who has been like, so what's interesting is there's a lot of young people who are trying to find jobs, right? Like everyone is trying to find a job right now, and a lot of people feel like they paid their dues, and so that the Democratic Party has what I like to call hermit crab politics. I don't know if you've ever seen videos of like hermit crabs, but when they find a bigger shell, they'll all get in a line and by size, and they'll all move up one seat at a time. And that's kind of how the Democratic Party works. You have to wait for someone to die or retire before you can actually move up. And that's the reason why, in the last three
Yeah,
years, we've had 8 or 9 senators and Congress members, almost all of them Democrats, die in office of old age
yeah,
or
yeah,
cancer or what have you, right? So there are always going to be people who are trying to like push us out, especially a
yeah.
campaign like mine. I've been told many times, like, oh, you're gonna split the vote. You're
Yep.
if you need to wait your turn, you need to aim for a gutter first before you actually go for like real power,
Yeah. Well, and then
Uh,
the hermit crab thing, that doesn't apply when it's Jasmine Crockett, who is the rightfully should have gone from Congress to Senate, but then they anoint somebody else to kind of take her place. So Natasha was
yeah.
asking, what are your thoughts on
Mm.
there's a lot of racism and it's
Yeah.
like there's the open fascism of the Republicans and then there's the fascism later of the establishment Democrats where
Yeah.
they don't really stand up against racism. So what are your thoughts there?
Yeah, I think that we need to obviously deal with systemic racism and structural racism because, that's basically our country's biggest scar. Um, I also think that we need to tax billionaires out of existence because they should not exist. When you have that much money, you stop being a real human being. That's my belief.
Yeah.
So, um,
Well,
but
to
I
add
think
on
that,
that, we have to stop giving them so much money. They get all these
yes.
subsidies. They get, and
Yeah.
I just say it's like that's a more powerful argument. You don't have to worry about taxing them. Just quit giving them so much money. Every time their
Yeah.
business fails, they get a couple $1 billion. I never get any billions when my businesses fail. So I think
Yeah.
that's a winning
Yeah.
argument too.
Yeah, I mean, like Elon Musk has gotten like 300 or $400 million from the federal government, and so it's basically like socialism for the ultra wealthy, and then rugged individualism for everyone else. And I personally feel like we're spending $1 billion a day on a pointless, unjust, and unjustified forever war in Iran right now, and that money could be saving and helping so many Americans' lives here in the U.S. But we're told there's no money for you for healthcare. You
Yeah.
you get to be homeless. You get to work 3 jobs and still be unable to make ends meet. And then we're gonna give a bunch of money to foreign defense or foreign countries and defense contractors and stuff because they really wanted to like seize some land for a resort in the Middle East. It's
Yep.
disgusting.
We never have money to help kids, but the second they need to beat us over the head, they got hundreds of billions of dollars. And so it just, at some point, just the integrity. Where's the integrity of our country? Go ahead and tell us your webpage, though, where people can find you and
Yeah.
support you.
So it's bennettforca.com, BENNETTFORCA.com. It's the same as my like handle, but with .com at the end of it. I'm also the same on all social media platforms except Reddit, but I won't bother with like telling you what that is.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
I got it, so I've got it in the chat for
I
people to
appreciate it.
find it. I'll put it in the replay too. So and I just want to say, it's like more people, we got to do this messaging. And I'm telling you, I'm finding a lot of success on Substack here. I just get up and talk in the morning and we just got to, it's this long process because there's this, like I said, there's the tidal wave of misinformation coming from the right. And we just have to do things. People are finding us here on Substack, these alternative platforms where people are talking. But anybody else, I'll talk to your campaign manager. I'll talk to anybody you recommend. I love your message. I love you already, sir. Wish you all the power in the world. Thank you for being on
Appreciate it.
here. Let me
Yeah,
help you. I'm your resource.
our campaign is it's being run by obviously me, campaign organizer. We have a comms director, and then we have like more than 100 and something volunteers now so far. Um, but really, this is a different kind of campaign because you'll find in some others where people are like, "All right, I'm running. The only thing that matters is the primary on June 2nd." But for me, like this is a multi-year, like generational struggle.
Yes.
So like I've committed to running at least twice, and we're going to be building the exact kind of grassroots power that we need to actually win in 2 years. But ideally, we'll make it this time around. But even if we don't, we're going to make it the next time around because we need something different. The current system is not working. The status quo is broken, and I think that one positive silver lining of all the horrible things that are happening right now is we've realized that all the reasons we were told that we can't have change, that we can't have like a better life, they're all bullshit.
Yes.
Like we did have money for teachers and children and food and social workers, because we were able to conjure up like more money than the Marine Corps gets for ICE agents. So,
Yeah.
it was always just about political will. And I think that now that people are starting to see that all of the media companies are owned by billionaires, and then we're being told not to believe our lying eyes, people are like, no, this is BS. And that's why alternative platforms like Substack seem to be picking up a lot of steam from what I've been
Yeah.
seeing.
Well, but we're gonna see too that every time something builds up steam, I'm already making plans to go elsewhere, and it would just be nice to settle in because I've already seen suppression on this platform too. It's just the fact. But I
Yeah.
mean, what things can you say where what can we do today? And because I'm tired of the
Yeah.
DNC always with their delay arguments. Oh, we just have to wait till the midterms. Give us money is basically the only things they say. I want something
Yeah.
now, like right today, this minute. So
Yeah.
tell
I
everybody in
think
the chat.
so. The best thing that you can do right now is to have a conversation with your neighbor. Most of us don't know who our neighbors are because, that's kind of like how our media and technology ecosystem has been designed. Um, Back in the day, it was not like people just spontaneously showed up and voted, and all of a sudden we got labor rights and weekends and childhood. It was we had the Gilded Age where we had rampant wealth and income inequality, which is our current system is actually worse now, by the way. But we had a bunch of people that were agitating and having conversations with their neighbors and their coworkers and their friends and families. And they built power together. Like they built a movement together, which was then capitalized on by labor and which led to a bunch of different reforms and social progress. We need to do the exact same thing right now. And so, in order to do that, you need to learn how to talk to other people and you need to learn how to listen. I think in organizing conversations, we say you spend 80% of your time listening and only 20% of your time talking. And the big thing for me is a lot of people want to say, like, oh, if you voted for Donald Trump or if you've ever worn a MAGA hat, you're, a worthless person and we're never going to love you or whatever, right? But most of those people, or I mean, a huge portion of them voted for Bernie Sanders in 2016. And it was really the Democratic Party completely giving up on the working class and people in rural areas that has led us to this authoritarian fascist moment. So what we talk about is, figure out what reality a person is living in and then focus on common ground without giving up on your values. That is the thing that the Democratic Party has continued to refuse to do, which is why, they gave up on immigration messaging. And now we have people getting murdered in the street and sent to, foreign death camps and slave camps here in the US. We need to be able to open the door for people to defect. We can't really do the whole told you so kind of thing because that's not how you build a relationship with someone. And the other thing is that this can't be a thing that we just do once every 2 to 4 years. It needs to be something that we're always doing. It's an alternative parallel power structure because right now we are at basically the whims of a bunch of billionaire pedophiles who
Yes.
do not give a crap about any of us and they don't even see us as human beings. So the only way that we're going to win is by building our own power and then exercising that power.
Absolutely. And the messaging too, like you said, trying to appeal to former MAGA voters, they just don't have access to the reality of the atrocities that are going around. They get the sanitized media. So I get concerned. Do you have any suggestions for how? I mean, there is talking to the neighbors. That's a good start, but we
Yep.
need to build on that. We need to have some
Yeah.
sort of a nationwide coalition where we get fair messaging because everything is just so far to the right, like everything.
Yeah, well, I think there's no such thing as a good billionaire, so I don't know if anyone's going to buy something like that for us. But I think one of the other things that we talk about, not just your neighbors, is also like think about what are your hobbies, what are the things that you spend your time doing, and then just have like agitating conversations with people where you talk about like, hey, it's kind of weird that this is happening. I don't, it doesn't make sense to me. What do you think about it? Ask people open-ended questions. Those are very important. We also know that you can either get a bunch of money from a very few number of people, or you can get a little bit of money from a lot of people, and that can go really far. Um, I also think that we really just need to like hold ourselves and our organizations accountable. We've seen situations where groups that should be progressive are backing like establishment candidates because their membership is just not having the ability to like police from within. So we also need to have a little bit more discipline when it comes to the organizations that we're members of. But it has to be something that's more than something you can just do in a day because this is work,
Yeah.
Um, hope is the belief that what is wanted can be had, and it's also something that requires a lot of effort and struggle
Yes.
because just having hope is not going to manifest what you're hoping for. You actually have to put in the work. So we got to get outside and go touch grass and talk to other people, and we need to use every opportunity to build relationships because when we
Yes.
are our best selves, that is the best way for us to influence others.
One of my commenters asked for you to just say a little bit about the progressive promise and what progressives stand for, just to educate people on that.
Yeah, I mean, so basically, conservatism is the idea that the old ways are best, and anything that challenges them is bad. Basically, there's also someone that says that it's built on the idea that the law exists to bind those it doesn't protect and protect those it doesn't bind. Progressivism is basically just the idea that our systems should be built to help people and should always be moving forward and trying to get better rather than becoming stagnant and staying the same. Like that is what it is at its very core. For me, I like to translate it as, people not billionaires, basic needs, not, profits for war profiteers. It's pretty simple. We all agree that everyone should be able to just like have like a peaceful, prosperous life. And the only thing that's getting in the way right now is the fact that people want to make money off of things not being that way.
Yes. You're still got good for time? A few more minutes?
Yeah, yeah, I can talk for a few more. Sure.
Okay, I was gonna say, are you in touch with a lot of other progressives? I like
Yes.
the statewide organizing, but yeah, put me in touch with them too. But tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so there's a bunch of people across the country. I'm part of this grassroots coalition of primary challengers to incumbents. We call ourselves Courage Candidates.
Oh,
It was
great.
built out of the citizens impeachment movement. So all of us have committed at a minimum to sign articles of impeachment on day one in Congress. But we're also actually trying to coordinate our platforms so that we know, like, once we have that two-thirds majority, we already have like voting block political power on day one in Congress. Because one of the big things that they'll say is like, "Oh, you can't challenge an incumbent because you'll have no power." It's like, well, yeah, if I'm just a solo individual, that's true. But if I'm more than that, then we have a much bigger shot.
Yes, and
Um,
so many of these common things that they say, like, yeah, they always support the incumbent. It's like if the incumbent is voting, because we just had these votes where it's 4 Democrats voted not to restrict the war powers, and it's like, so
yeah,
what's the point of these incumbents? Why are we
yeah.
supporting them?
And it would be a lot more if they knew that it could pass. Because that's the other thing. Like they also vote politically, which means, maybe they all want war in Iran because they're all taking money from like Lockheed Martin and Israel. But their willingness to be courageous oftentimes is driven by their belief that it will or won't pass. So if they actually had the votes, then we probably would have seen a little bit more defections. Like we saw the same thing with when they ended the government shutdown last year, when the president was using hunger as a weapon against American citizens, where as soon as the wealthy started having their flights to Cancun getting canceled, all of a sudden the government shutdown ended, and then we used zero leverage and had nothing to show for it. So we actually we need to fight, and in order to fight, that means we need to actually build logistics because logistics is what wins wars,
Yes,
boots on
and
the ground, unfortunately.
I encounter where I call it this is constructive criticism. I have a lot of people that are
Mhm.
like, they tell me I'm being divisive and that I have my obligation is to unify behind the party. But I keep saying it's like their strategies have got us here. It's like the GOP, my friend Nick Perro says, GOP is fascism now. The current Washington Democrats are fascism later. But it's just sort of like
Mhm.
we need anti fascism to be our point moving
Agreed.
forward.
Yeah, I mean, so the thing about the Democratic Party is it's not really a party. So, all right, I'm going to give you a little, I guess, a lecture
Oh, that's
on
good.
our electoral system. So, we are the oldest constitutional republic in the world, but we are also victims of our own success. When the founders created the Constitution, they wanted to avoid this exact kind of problem. But unfortunately, it was so long ago that when we wrote the Constitution, proportional representation as a concept had not been invented yet. So when we go into other countries to promote democracy, we don't say to use our system, we tell them to use proportional representation. And that is what allows for parliamentary democracies to exist, which is just a much better democratic way of being. Here, everything gets boiled down into a false binary where it's like left versus right, red versus blue. And there is no party power. Being in a party is just an arbitrary self-identification. Like you say, okay, I'm part of your party. And yeah, maybe you can join a club or you can join like, a committee or something. But at the end of the day, the parties have no ability to actually punish you if you go against what the party is supposed to stand for. So what the party has turned into is it's basically an incumbent protection machine. it doesn't actually stand for a platform. It stands for making sure that the people that already have power maintain that power. And that's because when you win an election here in this country, there's only one seat. And if you don't win that seat, you get no representation whatsoever. So at the end of the day, like the party literally doesn't even matter. Like you don't actually need the party to win. And that is the problem. And it also means that if you defect or if you are a problem or you vote poorly or you continue to do bad things, the party has no ability to actually punish or discipline you. So the only way to actually fix that problem is to get rid of the two-party system. We actually need to have proportional representation, like every other developed, civilized society that's currently operating in our world.
Yeah. And I've been talking with a lot of people and the encouragement going forward because I have been seeing the state level seems to be the key where we need to focus. There's a lot of people doing, and it's the down ballot things. And I always want to emphasize that because there's all that power that's distributed. And we've seen how every time the Republicans get any kind of office, corruption just follows. Money that's supposed to be used for the common good seems to get funneled off to help their, just these hate groups. So what ways can you suggest too that we can I'd like to see more state candidates helping the other
Yes.
down ballot candidates. So what are your thoughts there?
Yeah, so I think it's state and local elections are extremely important. And so we need to have basically like slates of electeds. But in order to do that, you need to actually be creating spaces for people to develop as leaders and also to understand like what the actual problems are. And you need to be able to find folks that are willing to be humble and willing to grow and recognize that you are not here for personal power. You're here to represent other people. So it is a tough battle. I think that there's a lot of organizations on the left that are trying to do that kind of work, with varying degrees of success. But I think for me as someone who's running as a federal candidate, I've been trying to help as many like local, state, down ballot candidates as I can. Boosting them with my platform, sharing the resources that I've developed and built connections with and stuff with these different groups because there's tons and tons of organizations out there that want to help down ballot candidates and progressive candidates, but it's like it's like a fire hose, you're trying to drink from fire hose and you don't even know all these things that are out there. So
Oh,
I think big thing you really need to prioritize showing up for every single vote because voting matters. But the way that I see it, voting is like the absolute floor. It is the bare minimum. It is not the culmination of your civic duty. What matters is you vote, and then everything on top of voting is the thing that really makes a difference. So whatever you care about, you need to get involved in it. And when you get involved, you build connections with people, and that allows you to start to see where the leaders are. And maybe you are a leader yourself, and then you can actually run for something. We know that the Republican strategy is to start at school boards and then move up from there. There's no reason why we can't do the same thing.
oh, that's so critical too. And I always say the tactics of white supremacy are always to attack children first because they are
Yes.
most susceptible to authority because they haven't developed as into adults yet, so they can be pressured. But
Yeah,
yeah, in
same thing
talking to
with
you,
cults, man. Like
what's that?
cults
Yes.
always go for children because the most powerful cognitive defense mechanism is confirmation bias, and it's built off of the earliest, strongest beliefs that you have are the most difficult to unravel.
Yes.
So that's why they always go after the children, always.
And we have to be willing to use this language because there's Nick. Hi, Nick. But we have to use this language because they are the right indoctrinates our kids. It's hostile indoctrination, and we tend to not say the things that they say because they. But with the right, every accusation is always a confession. And I have found that if we tell parents, you don't want to allow these white supremacy groups to burn all the books in the library and to prevent the teaching of real history. I always say the United States teaches history like it's the Epstein files. And it's like if we're redacting all the crimes of these people, maybe they're not worthy of reverence. But all that is
Yeah.
part of this larger indoctrination strategy.
Yeah, I like to say American exceptionalism is weaponized mediocrity.
Oh, yeah. Well, and the gatekeepers, the gates, they close the exceptional. They close for the exceptional candidates. They open wide open for these mediocre felons, sex offenders, disrespectful jerks, who then are ushered into the highest points of power in the land. And it's a multi. There's multi ways we have to fight this problem. But I applaud you for the things you've said. You've given me a lot to think about.
Yes, sir. I mean, I think the most important thing for anyone, but especially like I think the thing that sets me apart from a lot of other types is that I'm not content to be stagnant. I'm always trying to grow and improve as a person. That growth mindset is extremely important. If I got into a situation where I thought I was perfect and could never make any mistakes and was never wrong, I would never be able to grow and actually be part of a real movement. So that's the thing that we need to focus on, Like there are many different ways we can get involved, but how you go about things is almost as important as the things that you're actually going about. So
Yeah.
you gotta take some time to introspect and make sure that you are moving in the right direction. And if you make a mistake, you gotta be willing to own up to it and actually grow.
Yes, that narcissistic model, the patriarchal model, the unquestionable authority figure. Yes, they never admit mistakes and then they never grow. They never advance. And the rest of us are constantly left
Yeah.
scrambling to fix their mistakes, like we're in right
Yep.
now.
And that translates into the most obnoxious behavior possible from like a politician, which is smugness and smarminess. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know about you,
rude.
but I despise the smug and smarmy.
Yeah, we can't have this can't be a model for our young, our young kids growing up looking at this person, the people that in charge of this administration. I mean, a few more people have come in. So just this is Chris Bennett running for Congress in California. And like I said, I've got a lot of wonderful content creators here on Substack. There's a lot of us who would like to talk to you at your convenience, like always easy on
Yes.
your phone or on your desktop. But yeah, give us another one for the people that are late joiners, just your sales pitch.
Yeah, and I probably need to go too because I also want to
All right.
talk to folks. But
Yeah.
yeah, so I'm Chris Bennett. I'm running for Congress. I'm a people first progressive, corporate free. I've been endorsed by SEIU California. I've been endorsed by Citizens Against APAC Corruption, also known as Track APAC. I'm also part of a group called Courage for Democracy because we all have courage to actually do the job of Congress, which is to hold the executive branch accountable. So please, if you can, follow us on social media. We're Bennett for CA. It's BENNETTFORCA on all
I got it.
platforms,
Yeah.
BennettforCA.com. And tell your friends. And if you know someone that's in our district, you can go to my website to see the map. There's also a link for people in California to plug in their address to see what district they're in. That's another thing, You just got to know more about what's actually going on, become
Yes.
educated, informed, and make sure other people know as well.
Yep.
But I really appreciated the conversation. It's been a good time. It was nice getting to sit in the shade because now I'm going to go stand in the sun with other people to protest ICE and war.
Yes.
But
Thank you.
like that's what it takes.
All right.
So
Well, before you go
appreciate it.
off, let me just say it's the Courage candidates. I'll look for them. Please put me in touch with some more of them. I want to schedule
We'll
some more
do.
things, talk to more people, all of them. But I'm at your service, sir. And again, thank you for taking the time to talk to real people.
Yes, sir. All right. Have a great one.
All right. See you.
Bye bye.
All right. I'm still here. What'd you guys think of that? Wasn't that guy great? Let's see it. I'll give it a few more minutes and look at some of these. I'll do his page here again. Chris Bennett. Yes, the more of these guys like this, the better. And that one is another one. That one was from Howard. Yeah, Courage candidates. I'm gonna have to look that up too. You guys keep helping me out. Keep helping me find these things. This one was from Howard. He set that up, so I appreciate that. Somebody says what district? He's in California. I can't. I want to say I can't remember. I can't remember. Yeah. And Nick says, let's get these on the B&B schedule. And I can put this little talk today on yours. Yeah, what a great candidate, right? I mean, look at these guys. District 3. Just consider that. Think how like personable and real and authentic. And he's not afraid to sit down with just a regular, I'm just a dad. I'm just a regular person. All you guys are regular people, willing to just talk, say just reasonable things. The idea of our government isn't for some like entitled jerk to settle into the office forever and just funnel away all the money that's our taxpayer money to his cronies and just corrupt people. So that's fun. That's fantastic. We heard you say is I'm using the word devices. You hear from him quite often. I, I don't know about that. Okay, I don't know what that was. I'm glad you like Chris though. Yep. Oh, it's the thing is too, listening to all these wonderful people who are out there actually working for us. And Jen says, thank you for putting this on. Did I see Angie Dixon Florida on your show? Put me in touch. I'll talk to them because again, okay. If she's a courage candidate or courageous candidate, whatever that is, the media is not going to promote these people. The media is not going to allow them to have their say. They're not going to let people find out about them. They want to deliberately hide it. And I'm already part of that media that is deliberately censored and oppressed. They try to hide me too because we bring people like this, but we do have the power. I mean, we have to take down massive structures. And yeah, all these platforms are imperfect tools. This too is an imperfect tool, but we're doing what we can in this moment. We're going to build things better. More collective organizations. I'm going to be talking, just Bob and I are going to have like a little strategy meeting that's set for tomorrow. Bob Dana, who is here, just to come up with a couple more ideas how we can build stronger networks that are outside these systems of corruption where we can reach more people. Robert says he's a vet and a STEM expert, and we need more progressives like him. He was wonderful. I'm just totally blown away by that guy. So again, thanks to Howard. Howard set that up for me, tracked him down and talked to those people. And so I've had that happen multiple times now, where people who have come into these lives, who are regular subscribers to me, track down these wonderful, wonderful candidates who just everything he said. I mean, what he even said is like, this might be a point of disagreement. Then he said exactly what I was thinking. So it's just sort of like, I never would get that from other candidates who lecture. And he's just, these kind, wonderful people are just fantastic. All the courage candidates. Yeah, the more on it, because the primaries are on. I mean, we've already finished a couple. It needs to be going. And the more of these good candidates, these people that are real human beings who are willing to listen to us, who are willing to use the office, the power of their office responsibly, who believe their oath, we got to get them in power. Otherwise, we're doomed, you know? And sorry to say, it is the establishment Washington Democrats who suppress candidates like that. What does Steven say here? Or Stephanie, I'm sorry. I have a candidate that I would like to help more people hear from. He wants to hear from more people, not taking any PAC money. Yeah, send me the information, please. I'd be happy to look into it. If they coordinating is always the hard thing, but I'm flexible. I just want to get them on and talk. Judy says, thank you for thoughtful conversations. Elizabeth says, keep the strong message going. Yes, and we do have to combat because there's so much pressure, both from the establishment Democrats and the blatantly white supremacist GOP. They pressure us with their messaging that keeps them in power. We have to stop that. Jen, great. AngieNixon.com. Hey, send it as a DM, please. I'll probably forget by the time I get there. Right? I'm a little bit better with the DMs, but I forget there too. Kitty Cat says he was fantastic. We have to back up these new Dems. He was good. Guy looked like Clark Kent. I mean, that's fantastic. We need him. We need him in office. What a great person. It just makes me happy to know there's people like that even running. So perfect. He was so much more electable. And I'm not supposed to say that than me. I was going to say, but I was just saying it's like a guy like that. Yeah, just these hardworking, genuine, authentic, kind people. Get them in there. Neurodivergences have to walk dogs. Okay, yes, go walk the dogs. Oh, and there's something with Jason Odell later. Good. Good talk. Thanks, Neurodivergent. Really important. Yep. And Nick, I want to get them on talks too. I think we got to emphasize too the power of Substack because this messaging is there. And again, yes, it's an imperfect platform. They're all imperfect, but there's so many wonderful people, especially when the mainstream media is disregarding them. Share this article when it gets, or this video post when I post it. Share it, let people see it, introduce it, and ask actually people what would really help is if you were to write an article and say, hey, this is a neat candidate. Let me tell you about this candidate. I want to read more of your thoughts. So, and this is just another way that we can help each other right now. All of you, if you're here, you can write a post, right? If you've got a Substack account, write a post, share it on your socials, say, this is what I saw. This is why it meant something to me. Sometimes that's a better way to get people engaged than even sharing this video on your other socials. Share your story with your words. Say what part of it meant something to you. That gives me things to reflect on because I don't see it all. I'm pumping as much stuff into my mind as I can take. I'm actually at this is as much as I can do right now. I'm really tired. I slept for 4 hours yesterday. I just went down and had a nap. But please, please, please write your stories, tag me in them so I can restack them. We'll get more people to see it. Nick says, I want to get all the candidates Walter's already spoken to, so I get them on Senate America, get them on. The more people that see these wonderful candidates, and just on a basic level, they can give an hour of their time and maybe they can get a couple $100 in sponsorships. But it's more than that. Getting the message out is super important because we got to fight back against all the just indoctrinated lies. And it takes a lot of effort to dismantle the system of oppression that exists. Let me keep rolling down here. And we got to get more people just on Substack or specifically following. It doesn't have to be all of Substack because there's a lot of just frankly accounts that aren't really working for us. But Nick is one of the good ones. Natasha K is one of the good ones. Get on there. Give me your feedback on these things. Courtney says, so many people here would be willing to boost and share these candidates across multiple platforms. And that's what we need. We need people we need to start that buzz going. That's how grassroots works. More than just, I mean, shares and stacks and comments, they really help. But if you could just write a little article and send it out to your friend group or include it in a newsletter and put a link and say, hey, this was really interesting. And then they said this part, extract the part out that you think is important, write it in your own words, and then put the link to the candidate and things like that. Because so many people feel hopeless. And the more things that we can do right now just to make people feel empowered and recognize we do have that power. They're trying to make us think we don't. They want us to focus on those massive federal elections because the power is in the school board elections, like Chris said. Yeah. And yeah, like I said, write your article here. If you have other blog posts, if you've got a WordPress, write it there. Just do your writing, please, people. Write. Courtney says, do you have a section on your page just for candidate interviews so people can see them all in one spot? I don't have that right now. I should just start taking them out and putting them. That's a good suggestion, Courtney. I haven't done that yet. Waj, yeah. I mean, and there's bigger creators than me. And if they can find a guy like Chris through me, that's my job here. Most people have never heard the progressive message. It's getting there, Bob, and we got to keep doing that. Keep spreading the word. Nick says, Walter, we need to onboard you fully into B&B so you can get these interviews streaming on Substack, YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook. Yeah, this one was kind of one of those spontaneous things. Howard said it might happen, so I'm glad it happened. And I just have to kind of be available. But yeah, see, Kitty Cat has to go. Jandra, the Substack algorithm is creating a new third party for us. It is, but it's you guys because the algorithm works against me. And that's my pitch too. It's like if you can upgrade to paid, it ensures you see me first and foremost. That really helps. I really need it. But just doing the sharing, and please do that thing. Like I said, write the articles, write your responses, give it some thought, give it a little bit of thought today. Don't just passively watch this and then go off and do your day. Spend just 10 minutes percolating on the thoughts, the things that you saw, the things that inspired you. That messaging helps me see because we have to see things from a diverse perspective. It's really super important. Nick is going to do it. He's going to make a section on B&B. Good. Thank you. You guys do it too. I mean, you can repost. That's another thing you can do. You can repost these interviews. You don't just have to share the link. You can repost it so my article goes to your subscriber base. And if you've got, I mean, it doesn't, if it's 10, if it's 100, if it's 1,000, that helps. That's all that many more people. And it's like, even though, I've got a relatively large, I mean, it's small in the cosmic sense, but it's a pretty good group. But if every one of you reposts this, when I post it, I'll post it as soon as it's ready to go. You cross-post it and it'll go out to all your subscribers too. You can write a little introduction. Maybe that's the best way to do it. So just make sure more people can see this. Jen said, I tried to send you the link. Let me know if you didn't get, okay, I'll check for it later. I love I'm having her on again soon because we were talking about the indoctrination, the white supremacy indoctrination. Everybody has to be aware of that. Everybody has to be concerned about that. You don't want to send your school and have these white supremacists indoctrinate your kids. They are hurting your kids when they don't teach, when they teach a redacted version of U.S. history, like it's the Epstein files, when they burn books, when they refuse to embrace diversity. They are hurting your kids. They're hurting your kids in these schools. We have to stand up for it. We have to stop being passive. Being passive is unacceptable. We have to stand up for all votes, because the establishment Washington, D.C., they're perfectly happy to listen to people who have said what I consider to be openly racist statements like James Carville. That hurts our ability to win. And it allows white supremacists to gain office over decent people. We have to push back against all those things. Nick says, anyone want to create cool pieces of artwork for the candidate interviews? Please do. I love seeing the artwork, and this is participation in all these different ways. Are you busy, Nick? Do you want to come on for just a minute? Let me know if you want to just come on and say hi for a second, Nick. Jen says the progressive sounds like, for me, Working People's Party. Yep. I mean, but there's multiple approaches, right? The Working People's Party is wonderful, but if we can also reform the Democrats, that's wonderful too. It doesn't have to be either or. We need to do both. Hearts help. Yep. Thank you for the hearts. That's true. Jandra said, I'm supposed to be writing. Thank you for the excellent displacement activity with this chat. Walter and Jandra, see, yeah, I turned to Spanish there. When I get excited, I start speaking in Spanish. But yes, please write some articles based on this chat. I want to read it. Christine, people are joining. Working People's Party message is better since a lot of negative content. Yeah, progressives. Yeah, that's true. Okay, Nick's just happy listening. He had a busy weekend. I wish I would have had opportunity to go down to visit you, but I spent all day. He was in Minneapolis the last couple days, and I didn't get to see him. I'm not that far away. Well, my daughter had a basketball game on Thursday. We had a 5K on Saturday, so I am taking breaks, even though today is my Sunday. But everybody's here. I'll stick around for a little longer. I love this. Miranda, I got to walk some dogs too, so go walk the dogs. The dogs need it. Um, the real People's Party. And it's going to be it's not going to be one thing. And one thing I want to emphasize for everybody's activism is important. We don't have to be angry at people because they're not following our activism. Support people. All their activism is important, whether they're primarily online, whether they want to be face to face, whatever they're doing, it's important. Encourage people. And that division, that impulse to divide, to think it has to be one way, is part of the white supremacy hate indoctrination we have to defeat. So we're getting there. I love Working People's Party. This is from Courtney. Do you think people aren't actually working would identify less with it because of the name? I don't actually know. Everybody's working in the United States at this point. I mean, our backs are against the wall economically. We are facing economic terrorism because of the GOP, the fascist child rapist supporting GOP. And yeah, I mean, that helps. The idea of people working hard and actually getting paid for it is a message that will resound. I keep saying, yeah, just stop talking about taxing. Just start talking about quit giving free money to billionaires. Why should they get our money? Um, Robert says we need to reform the Democrat Party. That's part of it too. We don't know how this is going to play out, folks. We have no idea. And what we have to resist too is there's going to be that impulse to just be like, oh, we've had enough progress. It's never enough progress. We have to continue to work for the progress. So keep getting there. Nick says it was so cool. We'll talk about it this Tuesday. Nick and I always have our notes of the week on Tuesday at 10 a.m. Central. So we'll be on for that. And we'll be able to talk about his weekend. I hope he got some rest. He works hard too. Nick works really hard. Yes, please send the artwork. I will share your artwork, share your profile. And that's another way too, as you guys can build your platforms. I always help to do what I can to build other platforms, other strong voices. We do have to build this network, this strong coalition. We have to share our support with each other, our support groups. And the bigger we can get, the more visibility we can get to guys like Chris. That's our job here now. And there's a lot we can do. But yes, write those articles, please. I'm calling him genocide shimmer. Oh, Robert's gone. See you, Robert. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Stacy, we are working. Yeah, just an existing. Nick says, just posted your precinct level interview with Lisa Hamline, and that is a great interview. Watch that, please. That taught me a lot just about the way the structure of our government actually is and how we do have a lot of power at these state levels. Hot in Orlando. Yeah, I bet it is. Stephanie Hernandez says, I nominated Abel Chavez for endorsements with Working Families Party and Justice Democrats, but never heard back from them. But ask again and again. A lot of times I find we have to do it over and over. Sony's taken off. See you. Got that same one again. Bye, Sonny. And then it's a great post. Sorry, I glitched. So I'm at the end of the comments. There's another one. Great. Nia Thomas and knowing self-know and others. Good. I'll be sure to check that out. Nia, glad that you're here. Stephanie, glad that you're here. So that was a little bit extra work here for a Sunday afternoon, but yeah, I hope you all feel empowered. It always feels better to see that there are these wonderful candidates out there. There are people out there working hard in our government, as frustrated as we can be with the national level. There's a lot of people working at the state level that are doing great work. You are all part of this. You all have a lot more power. Hi, Amy. You have a lot more power than the establishment wants you to believe. They are afraid of us. That's why they spend so much time suppressing the messages of unity and the progressive ideal that are extremely popular. Thank you, Jason. And if we go forward, we embrace that power, we continue working, we're going to win. We're going to win. It's just a matter of keeping going, never giving up, keep spreading these messages, doing all that wonderful stuff. All right, I think that's enough. Everybody's telling me they're leaving, so I might as well leave too. City and county too. Pam, thank you for saying that. No election is too small. They all start. The white supremacists start with school board, so go win the school board. Give us marching orders, specific action items we can report back on midweek. Well, CMDR. I already said, write a response to this and post that as an article and tag me in your response so I can write about it and I can share it and I can help elevate your platform too. Do that. Talk to people in your neighborhood to investigate these things. Reach out to other candidates. Have them come and talk to me. Try to get more people to subscribe here because the algorithm suppresses me because I am on the side of the people. Thank you, Natasha, for your wonderful things. But that's your action. That's your assignment. Start writing some articles. Promote this. Link to this as you write an article. Share it to your group. We will all rise together. We will all build together. That's what we have to do, though. Inaction is not acceptable. Do something today. One thing. Even writing an article is a lot. Clicking like, writing a comment, restacking, sharing this to your socials. All that is important, but I think it's really important for you to be involved where you are writing something about it. Pick out something that really resonated with you. That helps me too. That helps process all the things that we see. This is what I thought was most important in that live. Write about it. And then I can emphasize those things in further talks. You guys help keep me accountable. You guys help program me so that I am capable of chatting with these people. And I know these candidates that are running for us, and I know what you want to hear. And your questions help me too. All right, I think I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you for being here. Go enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Try to relax, watch something funny, enjoy your time with your kids and your family and your loved ones. Walk the dog, get outside, put your phone down, don't doom scroll. And we'll be back at it bright and early again tomorrow. Love you all. See you all later. Oh, I just about pulled myself over. See you all later.